Already have a Radiomaster Zorro and looking to get a quad, goggles, batteries, battery charger. What do you think? Like for a quad, let's think. Goggles is going to be the hard one. I think you're going to find it hard to get goggles for less than $400. Obviously, you can get some really bargain basement analog goggles or for around $100. They're not that great, but they will get you in the air. You can get used goggles in the $350 range. But like if you are like not trying not to just sort of throw money away on cheap stuff that you're probably going to outgrow, you're going to spend three to $500 on goggles. That's really, there's not a lot of wiggle room in there. Like maybe if you're really lucky, you'll find an old pair of goggles for $250 used that'll get her done. But like $300 to $500 is really where goggles are at, and you can spend more if you want. Brooklyn Otter points out the Fat Shark Recon HD gets you Walk Snail for under $300. Valid. Super Deluxe suggests you buy the DJI V2 for $300. The DJI V2 Super Deluxe is harder and harder to find. Open box Integras are $280 from Best Buy. Yeah, so $300. So like, ironically, some of the cheapest goggles you can get today are DJI Integras. If you can find open box Integras, they're under $300. New, I think they're still like $350. So, what a weird world where DJI goggles are the budget choice, but like. Goggles X are more expensive than that. HC0 goggles way more expensive than that. So, out of that $700, let's say that $350 of it gone for goggles. Now you're down to $350. Now you need a quad, batteries, and a battery charger for $350. That's not a 5-inch. That's not happening for a 5-inch. Like, there are a couple of 5-inch bind and flies you can find for $300 to $350, but they're analog. They're not DJI. A DJI 5-inch bind and fly, $500. So, and don't go buy used, because used quads, who knows? They could be crashed, beat up. Who knows? So I think that you're looking at, like I said, a DJI Integras. But then what's your quad going to be that has an O3 air unit on it? And how expensive is that going to be? It's not going to be a tiny whoop. That's a tough one. 661 FPV, I agree with you. For $700, I think the way to go is analog quads and micros. So find yourself a set of analog goggles in the $300 to $400 price range. Get yourself a tiny whoop for $100, $120, and then you have a ton of money left over to get batteries and charger and other accessories. You could even spend like $500 on the goggles. Go ahead.
I think the one thing I would say here is, like, if you know you're needing to be under a budget, I think you should consider, like, are you going to be under a budget in a month or 2 months or 3 months or 4 months? Like, do you have more money, or is this it for a long time? Are you getting a stipend, or like, because like I see a lot of especially younger kids get in and they only have a certain amount of money that they get like on Christmas or something.
Right.
And then like if you break the thing, you just don't have the thing anymore. Like you maybe don't have the money to buy, or you have to beg somebody for money, or you have to go do work for it, or you're not expecting the cost, right? So like analog and tiny whoops is definitely going to be also cheaper to keep going, to upgrade, to change things. But if you know you're going to have money later, you have a job or whatever, like it might make more sense to get into digital and then know that you can spend X amount later and progress that way too. I think that's something people should consider.
Absolutely. Yeah, the thing to keep in mind, just to say the exact same thing you did slightly differently, FPV is not a one-time expense. It's not like I bought a gaming PC and now that's my gaming PC for the next 5 years. That's the computer I've got now. It's like 5-6 years old. Still gets the job done. Don't care. I'm going to just run it into the ground. It requires, you're going to break things. You will need a slow, steady drip of cash to stay in the hobby. And with micros, you know, it's a lot smaller of a drip. With 5 inches, man, every time I just went out and I did that bridge freestyle, broke a motor, maybe an ESC, don't know which yet. I wasn't even flying that hard. Just had one. It was when I landed. It was when I hit the cross piece and landed on the I-beam, and then fell to at that point. That exact impact killed a motor or killed the ESC. Don't know which yet. And I was like, great. There's between $25 and $80. Done. Out the window. Every time I go fly, it's $50. Something. I break something between $50 and $100. Every time not every time I go out in my backyard and just fly a pack, but every time I go somewhere and fly and try and actually do some shit that's worth doing, boom, $50, $100. It doesn't have to be that bad, but it is an ongoing expense. And if you're a one-time cash infusion, you got to figure out how you're going to spread that out.